G'day guys, that was a bit of fun. Ah, just done the Beavercraft beautiful knife, the staple maple burl set, and the winner was Steve Gramberg. Sorry John Thomas Jewell that you weren't the winner on that one. Your moon was certainly up there. Such good choices, all five of them. Well done. Anyway, we're doing live here now in Beginners Woodcarvers. Hello Tina, hello Jason. Yes, so it's been a bit of a hectic morning. I've got my coffee just in time. G'day David, g'day Becca, g'day George, g'day Corey. Good. Coffee. And a little tooth pain. Yeah, here we go. Well, I was going to do a bit of running around between the Beavercraft competition and getting some things ready for us and live, yay, and I didn't get a chance to do the running around. So it's going to be one of those lives. There's a few things I do want to cover today. Just trying to think of the names. Cindy and Bonnie. Bonnie? Yes, Bonnie. Talked about the slip strop and why do we do the knives on the leather and the gouges and the vetals on the wood. And I mentioned that that's just really for deburring. I've got to scroll. It's scroll. Go for scroll. Well done making it, Tori. Hi Lucy. Hey. 1 AM in the UK. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry it's so late for you. And there's Bonnie and Brett and Jackie and William. Oh yeah, all here. Yay! Woohoo! It's been one hell of a hectic morning. Trying to go live with multiple conferencing and having difficulties, so we weren't able to do that. At some point we are going to do that in here because hook or by crook, there's more than one way to defer a feline, and we know how to do it. It requires my television screen behind me. I'm sorry that you didn't win, JTJ. It was bloody close. Okay, so compound or no compound? Well, you use compound on both sides. It polishes the with a gouge. Let me get gouge. Let's get a gouge. Let's get a big gouge so you can see what I'm doing. Let's get my slip strop. Skim it to the back of the head. See, I even keep my slip strop in the box. Isn't that good? It keeps it cleaner. Now I haven't got much in the way of compound on the back because I've used the big one a couple of times, and I've got a big gouge. Hang on, let's get it into the thing. Now, the gouge, when you look at the bottom side, that's where your bevel is. So that one you have to do on the leather. So that has a twisting action. You drag and twist, drag and twist, drag and twist, and that will polish up the beveled side. Now, when you do that, you'll get a burr on the inside. That's the inside. I know it doesn't show very clearly because convex and concave shapes are quite difficult. Now, g'day Tammy. So yes, so when you're sharpening on your slip strop, I mean, one, be careful, pays to wear a glove, and then that way you don't slip and cut your hands because it's a very small patch. What I do is I have a piece of wood with leather on it as well, and it's longer so that I can get a much longer draw backwards and forwards. But this is smaller and shorter, and you have to be careful of slipping off. As you can see, it's darkening here because I've got knife residue. The knives don't reach up to here, so going off from the side with a knife like that, but with a gouge, it's a bit difficult when I'm doing it backwards, but you drag and twist, drag and twist, and you keep the level of that bevel, so the bevel's actually flat on the slip strop like that. Okay, and then when you've sharpened it a few times, then you flip it over and you just find the contour that fits the tool that you're sharpening, and you just basically run it across the wood once or twice, and then feel the inside, and you'll notice that what burr was there has gone. That's what these wooden pieces for, because the bevel is on the outside of chisels, gouges and V-tools. That is really just for deburring. You wouldn't really need to use that for much for sharpening. That's really just to take off the sharp burr that you get from stropping. So that's what the slip strop's for, and why you use wood on one side and leather on the other. Of course, you also have the leather part on there. So for this nice big wide gouge, I would be able to strop it on that as well, rather than go for the wood. But that's because it's a big wide gouge. I mean, that's over a 1/2 inch width. Ooh, I can see little tiny metal filings. And that's got a sweep of 7, so it's not quite not going into the use part, but quite a big gouge. But that's what the wood is for. I saw that come up and a question, and could I mention that? Now, that's one thing. Now, g'day, Leonard. Yeah, I'm well. Okay, that's cool. Do these things wear out? What, these? Well, eventually you potentially might wear all the leather down, but if you do, then just take it off, put a new piece of leather on it. Do they wear down? That's a good question. I've had mine 8 or so months, I suppose. 8 months, and I've barely scratched these because they don't get much use. The leather seems to wear well. Have to scrape off the excess polish occasionally, but I haven't got to that point yet. I do sharpen a lot. Any of us that carve, after a short while, you realise that yes, you do put some compound on the wood as well. Yeah, you can put compound on there. I pay to do so. Top of the morning to you, David. Yeah, I tend to put a little bit on there. I don't really slather it on. I use it very, very sparingly on the wooden part, but then that's only because I'm not sharpening. All I'm doing is deburring. Hopefully that helps. I thought we had to put compound on wood. Good to know we don't. I do. But it only requires a very small amount, and as you can see, the V-tools and things I haven't used very much. I've been practicing and using the knives, and I only use the V-tool really if I'm doing hair. If I'm drawing, I still tend to use. I tend to go around with a knife. The V-tool is useful, and I use the what size is it? 1 mil, so less than a 16th. I think a 16th is 1.6 mil or something like that. Very close, 1.2, 1.3, something like that. But I just use a 1 mil V-tool. Now, Corey asked a question about woods, how to preserve them when you cut off a branch. Well, I don't have any in here. I would have bought a branch in and I would have given a demonstration, but didn't have time to set it up. Corey, pretty easy. If you cut a branch off a living tree, then the ends where you've got your saw cuts, either cover them in PVA wood glue, like wash it on fairly thick, so that you basically sort of cap the end with paint. Paint is the other option. There are some out there that are latex-based paints. They have a habit of staining the very ends of the wood, but that doesn't matter. You cut that off. But basically, you apply a fairly thick coat of paint on the ends, and what that does is, if you imagine that a piece of wood is a whole lot of tubes or a lot of straws, when you slap paint on the ends, you cap all of the straws, and it doesn't allow air to flow through your log, your branch, particularly, and it means that it has to lose the moisture through the bulk of the wood rather than at the ends, so it doesn't dry out too quick, and with that you generally won't get cracking when you, or checking cracking when you go to a wood dealer, even your local wood yard, you'll notice that all of the ends of the woods have colours on them. Now, I always wondered whether or not that was a grading process, but since doing carving and learning that to slowly dry out a piece of wood so it doesn't break, so it doesn't crack, you cap the ends with paint, and that's what the paint has been on the ends of all the wood. It's to stop it cracking. You live and learn. Okay, I've been hammering on mine for at least 8 months. The leather has needed to be re-glued on the corners, but the strop has lasted well so far, and I'm sure good for at least another year. I think so too. I over-slathered the compound on my leather, so now it's like running the blade over putty. Well, you can always scrape them. I've seen that one of the tricks is you scrape using the backside of your knife, not the bladed part, and you can scrape off a lot of the excess compound and then put new stuff on, and you lose the black and have yellow if you're using yellow compound. G'day Rob, g'day Cindy. Cindy, you've just missed me telling about the strop. The main thing is to keep the bevel flat with the strop. Too high on the bevel and the edge won't touch the strop. Too low on the bevel, you can round over your edge. Now, okay, here's a little tip that I was given by somebody a long time ago, and that is, if you put a 5-cent piece, a nickel, I think it is, or a dime, on your strop, that's about the level that you want to, if you're using your knife, if you're sharpening a knife. Okay. Oh, the paddock's still a bit sticky. Paddock doesn't like poly, by the way. Tammy mentioned it, and I'm having the same problem. The poly doesn't want to dry on the paddock. Now, okay, so when you, let's look at it. That's absolutely flat. If I lift that up a dime's worth and then strop, that's about the right height for stropping. Is about a dime's height. So if you can keep that in mind, you can always put a dime on there and lay it on there and see what sort of angle you're at and strop it at that angle. And a dime or a nickel, very, very handy to be able to gauge how much your blade has to lift up to be able to sharpen the bevel. Hopefully that's helpful. I'll put this sticky knife back up there and hopefully it'll dry. Let's have a look, a bit more scroll. The main thing is to get the bevel flat. Yep. Oh, good. I'm glad you saw it, Cindy. Good. Dwayne's here. Yay! Don't often see Dwayne. Yay to see Dwayne. Oh dear. I don't know why I cup it inside. It's not like there's any wind. I don't know why I wear a hat inside. It's because it's iconic, that's why. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Now, good morning, Blaze. Blaze has just awoken. Oh, okay. Thank you. Wipe the paddock with mineral spirits to remove some of the natural oils. Good help with glue and poly. I didn't know that. Thank you so much. I might end up giving them a wipe over and cleaning up, taking what I've put on there already, put on there off, and I'll try that. But thank you for that. It's I did read up there were 5 or 6 ways that you can apply different types, but really handy. Try to buy and use knives with a Scandi ground blade that run the bevel the whole width from the spine, and they're easier to ride the bevel straight while stropping. Yes, true. I have my Helvey and the Drake do that. Beavercraft have more of a bevel, so do FlexCut. So I know what you're saying. Yes, it is a much easier stropping process when the bevel is the whole blade. I prefer that personally. I find those knives are particularly good. I enjoy. I actually enjoy stropping them, watching the polish come back. The Helvey blades were a little bit scuffed; they needed a bit of polishing, and I've made some of my own recently. Oh, you've got a Drake coming! Yay! Oh, my dog's getting a fuss off of Blaze. How good is that? Hey, I'm in BWC now. Like, 4 minutes. There was 4 minutes to spare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to say hello, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a nice little surprise. We got that.
Hello, I'm
As you
just
can see,
woken up.
she has just woken up.
I'm just woken up.
She's woken up. I wonder if I can pinch a little bit of tobacco, because look at this one. This is all the dust from the end of my pouch. Thank you very much. I did not want to open your new one. Yes, so yeah, look, Helvey's tools are really, really good. I have a problem with their shipping. They want just a blade, 50-cent shipping. Thanks, Tammy. For me to buy blades, I've got to pay $32 for them to be shipped. And when I mentioned this to Drake immediately dropped their shipping, their international shipping, from $36 to $16. So they were able to take $20 off, which meant I was able to buy another knife. I bought a small detailing knife, as well as Brett's more Blaze. Yes, so I have a preference because of that shipping, international shipping. It dissuades me from Helvey's. Unfortunately, I have 3 of their blades. I only have 1 of Drake, but that will be rectified, because I'm going to buy some of. I'm going to buy. It's expensive for anyone outside the USA or Europe. Yes, exactly. But the fact that Drake were able to drop their shipping, international shipping price, means that Helvey can too. Helvey don't want to. Helvey had an issue with, I think they sent some blades out internationally, and because there was no tracking, the people told them that the blades didn't arrive, so Helvey had to reimburse them the money, and they were out of pocket from their knives as well. So I can understand that they've got reservations with Global, because if there is no tracking and I didn't get them, you end up with the knives and your money back, and they're worried about that happening. So they use priority shipping. It's not that they make the extra money; it's the postal service that does. I understand how it works, but yes, much better. Look, I bought 2 Helvey blades through a friend, rather than going directly through Helvey, because I wasn't going to pay the $32. It cost $3 to ship the blades to my friend, and then it was $14.25 to send here. So it cost me $17.25, $17.50 to ship, which was still $15 savings. And when you convert that over, that's $20 to me in Aussie dollars. So I do have a little bit of an issue with Helvey, because they won't do anything about that international shipping price. So we were going to have a Helvey giveaway to detailing knives, and I said no, because I couldn't, in all good conscience. The group is 2/3 American, 1/3 the rest of the world, and I couldn't, in all good conscience, tell the 1/3 that is Global that Helvey's a very good deal. The 2 blades that I bought ended up being $41 each for me. I've made them into blades, so I'm happy with the blades, the money spent, but $40 just for a blade of my dollars was a bit extreme. Drakes do sell blades, but you have to ask them for specifically for blades rather than the knives, and Drake will also sell blades, and they're about $10 cheaper than the knife. It's good if you buy several at once. Yeah, there's a little savings, of course, because it's I think it's up to £4 that that price covers, something like that. But at $30 or $40 a blade, a knife, buying a lot at once. Yes, I only need one or two. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, the quality of Helvey's knives are good. They are one of the best knives on the market. I just think that Drake are better. I can show you the difference between my Drake and the Helvey. Okay, there's the Drake. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, here we go. Well, the paddock, isn't that funny? The purple heart, the poly is set, and I've got a little bit of paddock there, and it's still sticky. Okay. There's the difference between Helvey shaped blade. This one's Helvey, and this one's a Drake. And looking at the blades, they're very similar. Neither of them have got a bevel. They've all got that. The bevel is the whole blade. The Drake blade has the little insert there, which allows, I don't know, a little bit. I don't cut myself, as you can turn my hand that way. That actually sits. Oh, shit, I can't get my hand around far enough. Over here somewhere, Carl. My finger sits there and it doesn't actually cut. Whereas if I use the Helvey, I've got to be on here. There's just that little dip makes life so much easier. Given a choice, that was the Drake, that's the Helvey. That's the Helvey I made. I do have a normal Helvey. Let me just put the blade covers back on so I don't hurt myself. There we go, nice blade covers on there. Ouch. Oh, no, that one wants to throw it around. I don't want to stick up there anymore. I've got the wrong blade cover on. Yeah, I've got the wrong blade cover on. That doesn't matter. Okay, now here's a normal regular Helvey that you're used to seeing. Now, I really like this one. I must admit, it's one I use a lot. But that's because that's only an inch detailing knife, as opposed to where'd I put that one there? This one is also a Helvey, but as you can see, the blade is much longer. Now, when detailing, I find that I often hold the knife and I'm doing such small cuts that this one actually works really well. Steve Fowler managed to send me this one secondhand, and it has been one. This changed me from liking flex cut to liking Helvey, and for a while there I was Helvey because they are good blades, much better than flex cut, much better, more expensive, yeah, nearly double the price, but the Helvey blades bloody good. Drake knives. Leave Helvey standing, in my opinion. Now, it is an opinion, but I think that without a doubt, Drake's knives are just a little bit better. I like the idea of Helvey's iconic look, i.e. the skateboard ply. I like that, but I've sort of got into making my own now, and I like them better, more personal. But I'm doing one at the moment. I need to do a smaller blade, a detailing blade. I may even make one that's 3/4 of an inch, just going that little bit shorter. So yeah, Helvey's bloody good blades. That was not easy to say. But given a choice, with the prices between Helvey and Drake being pretty much the same, I tend to stick. I certainly am a fan of Drake's. Okay, finally got in. Oh, good, well done, Sharon, you made it. Bad luck in not winning the beautiful knives from Beavercraft. It was a really hard choice. There, all of the options of those 5 are really hard. Okay, what Dremel bit do I need for digging out wood like a gouge does? Okay, what I would suggest here is that you look at Sabertooth. They're $16.50, I think, for an eighth, a 1/8 shank, so that will fit the Dremel. And for rapid wood removal, I don't have any of them in here. I don't. All of my my power tools and stuff I tend to have out in the shed. So I don't actually have one that I can show you here, but I can put up a picture. I'll put up a link and a picture afterwards, Corey, as to the rapid wood removal. You asked about a spoon. That it will do a spoon. It will do a spoon. That's a lot. It's a shame because a lot of carvers have retired folk on a pension budget. Well, yeah, exactly. That's why Tammy and I, Dwayne, have all contributed to knives that we make and how to make them. I cut out some blades from a circular saw. Let me just. I don't know, spent about half an hour. Look what I've done to him just to make me laugh at him every time because I'm not ready to do the face. Makes me laugh every time I look at them. Okay, so just from a saw blade, I cut out. I got what, 8 or 9 here, I think. There were a couple of fails that I didn't hold the grinder straight. 2, 4, 6. I've got 6 here. I've got 2 more up here. I've got 8 of these, 9 of these for in here. So I've got the potential for 9 more blades, and I've also put up a picture of my. There's another one that's on the go. That's in beech. Unfortunately, I cut through the bottom, but I'm going to try resining it up and seeing how that works. I worked on one. I'm working on one last night. This is why you have to keep a tidy bench when you do stuff like this. Ah, here we go. And I've got the blades there. This is what I was working on last night. I've got a hole all the way through, and I'm slowly resining using embedding resin to fill that up. But I'm having troubles with the embedding resin because the ratio of catalyst is I was using a different embedding resin, and my hardware store changed the brand, and this new one just doesn't work as well as the other one. It seems to take much longer to go off, but I recessed in the end there for the blade before I glued them together and drilled the hole, and eventually that will be shaped. Well, that will be more of like more of the Drake shape. The bulge will be at the back rather than at the front. So that's the one I'm working on at the moment. It's got cogs in it, it's got some luminous stuff in it, and I'm just latexing, not latexing, I'm setting that one up. Here's one I've done in Wenge and maple, and I've recessed it for the blade, so that I can glue that up and stick it in. No, I haven't finished it. I'm too busy talking. Skull, 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 skull. I can't skull it. Lord Scullington. Lord Scullington, yes. Okay, so you bought your first Helvey Artistry and Wood Show. Yeah, they're good knives. They're only surpassed by Drake. I had the Helvey, and it was top of my line for quite some time, and then I got a Drake. But it's personal opinion. So yeah, that's the new one that I'm going to do. That will have resin throughout it. I've recessed it for the blade. That'll all be epoxied up, and then I will eventually get round to shaping that. These are the 2 newest blades I'm working on. These are the 2 new handles that I've set together. I have got some maple and some red gum what I didn't do was allow enough material to do the blade cover so that it matches as well. So I've got some red gum. That'll be backed. I've got 2 pieces. I'll join them too, and I'll make sure that it has some nice maple or something like that on the side, which will allow me to tidy it up and mess around with it, which I will do at some stage. That's my most used size 2. Yep, lol. Seriously, sharpening question. Thank you. I sharpen my straight carving blades the same way I sharpen my shaving blade. When my carving blades will shear hair off my arm, I consider them done. How do you know when your blades are sharp? Yeah, look. After a little while, when you're carving away, you find that you're not getting quite the same cuts. It's not as shiny. You feel when the blade needs doing. It suddenly feels like it's a little serrated, and it's not cutting so cleanly. Yes, I've got bald patches on my arm here where I've tested them just to see if they're sharp. I start off, well, I think, okay, once it takes hairs off, then I'm just a little bit more stropping after that. But that's me. Direct tools are art in blades. Yes, I totally agree. When you see an even bevel point and it's polished evenly. Yep, that's great. I get 50% off Beavercraft tools. I'm good with that. Excellent. I'm glad you get that. Something for everybody rather than just one prize. It's not silly, but the way it feels on the wood, sharp is smooth, dull, it has a drag-in feel to it. Exactly. Oh, Blaze joined us. Hello, Blaze. Using Beavercraft polish seems like after 20 minutes of carving, it only takes 5 or 6 runs on the strop to shave again and make. Yes. No. That's exactly what. Yeah, I'm getting there. Dripping in my beard, but it's gone. Watch my cup. Here we go. Right on the edge. Dun, 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 dun. Thank you, Blaze. They're saying that you're prettier than me, so you should be doing these lives, not me.
Oh, are they?
Well, Brett is.
I've just woken up and I look like I have an Oriental hairstyle. Did you guys see my Oriental hairstyle?
Here you go, Brett. You ready?
I've just woken up. My hair is like not really sure what it's doing at the moment.
I bet it looked pretty on the pillow.
Yeah. maybe not. Is that a good look, guys?
No, don't do that. You look like me.
At least I'll be able to tell we're related. Anyway, guys, have fun.
Yeah, we are related. I think. I haven't introduced her to her real father yet. Used to say that to them when they were little. You wait until I tell your dad you haven't met him yet. Okay, these are going to be really cool knives. Thanks, Tammy. Yeah, they're going to be. I'm trying to do something a little different. I'm trying to do something really pretty. It's going to be fun. Same here. It only takes relatively few strokes using multi-breeder radio as well. Even if I wait a bit too long, it still only takes about 20 strokes. Yes. Yeah, that's exactly right. But my daughter is good value. Oh, hang on a second, Corey. Let me look. Have I been a good boy? No, I haven't. No. I have a couple of small Dremel bits in there, but not the ones I want. Saber-tooth ones. Yeah, no, I don't have any in there. Shame. I thought that was potentially, I've lost one. I seem to have misplaced it. They're very easy to lose, the Dremel bits. Pays to be a creature of habit and have a stand that they fit into, and whenever you take one out you put it back in its stand and then you don't lose them. What I've done is I've been doing work outside on the bench. I've done a little bit of dremeling. I've used the bit. I've changed the bit went on the table, and then the next thing you know, I'm missing the Dremel. The Saber-tooth bits cost me a fair bit because I have to get them sent. Thank you. Oops. I got coffee. Yay! I can show you what a what they look like. These are the next size up. So these are like a 6mm shank. A saber-tooth bit looks like that. That's a flame torch burr. Let me look. No, it doesn't say. It just gives me the coarse grain. That one's rough. That one's not quite so rough. And yellow. So orange is coarse, green is medium, and the yellow is fine. And you can get these in 1/8 bit 1/8 shanks. So that's a 6mm shank. So that's 6mm or 1/4 of an inch. But you can get them at 3mm or 1/8, depending on whether or not you're metric or not. But they will fit your Dremel, and these are some of the best removal for power. Like I said, these ones are actually on their way to the States as a thank you to one of the members for contributing way above and beyond. That helped me and BWC, so those ones will be going overseas. But yeah, saber-tooth. Fordham do them as well, but I know that I've only recently looked them up and there was $16.50 for one for the Dremel, so that'll help. Real stiff guy. Blaze is just good value. You think we need a new challenge? Always. Cole's hat challenge. My hat. Oh, don't let him fall over. Don't let him fall over. My Lord Scullington with cane, with his guts. There's bubble gum. I don't know, you can't really see it, but in there I wanted something gutsy, so I used I actually used super glue and chewing gum, and I got the guts out of the chewing gum. But this is my Lord Scullington, Pete Martinez's design for the skull. I copied that, and then I decided for my Halloween challenge that I was going to do a full body, which I've never done before, and I did that out of blocks. I think the shoes were each one piece, the legs were one piece, the torso was one piece, the arms were a piece each, the head was a piece, the hat was 2 pieces, and the cane came out of 1 piece. So I built this up like a Lego, but then like my normal carving style. I didn't have 1 piece of wood that was 12 inches tall. But there's my Lord Scullington. I like him. I'm really stoked because I looked at last year's Halloween challenge and I looked at this year's, and I put a horrible skull in off of the 16 heads of the mob, and it was a crap skull. I did not do it very well. Now, for my Halloween challenge, I am extremely happy with Lord Scullington. So that was my effort for Halloween. I would have put that into woodworking maniacs for their Halloween challenge, but as I was a judge, I was disqualified, so we got it instead. We're doing anything challenges in the group for holiday. Look, the challenges that are there in the units, they're there for all of time. What we generally tend to do is we pick up on a theme. The Halloween was the last one, so we've done Halloween. I think that I've got like a diary of challenges for the weeks. Now, technically speaking, we should be doing the Tin Man, which Tina's favourite is a Tin Man. That's loads of scrolling. That costs a lot for a set, but they're badass, seriously. I love my knives. They're good. Sweet and Other Georgian. Do they just fit a Dremel? They fit all of the non-branded rotary tools. I call Dremels rotaries, but then it's a bit like saying in the UK they don't vacuum, they hoover. The brand name has taken over, it's become a verb. It's a bit like that with the Dremel. The Dremel is what we call them all, but there's a lot of non-Dremel made ones. I don't own a Dremel. I've got 3 or 4 non-Dremel machines that I use regularly. I've had them for years. They generally have a 3-year replacement warranty, and I've never had to use them once. So that's a good. They sent me a free t-shirt. Well, wicked. He's awesome. He's cool. Thank you. Thank you. After stropping, if your blade will cut paper smoothly, it's sharp. Yes, that's true. Awesome. I like him too. They'll fit any suitably sized collet chuck. Yes, they will. Sometimes you have to change the chucks over. The collets inside the Dremel, they usually come with a variation, because they also do a 16th bit, which one of my fake Dremels is set up to do the 16th bit, and that's just a different insert to hold that the collet. Will your bits fit anything? Yes, it does. Back to work. Stay safe, everyone. Thanks for joining us, Jason. So any power carver with collets. Usually the collets, you can get them on the Dremel stand. They sell them as a pack. Like I said, mine are all out in the shed, and I can't call them in. What I'm going to do next week is I'm going to do a power tool presentation next week. I won't actually use any of the power tools, but what I'll do is we use knives, we use gouges, but there's some of the group that do power tools, and some of us do both. Well, I'm guilty of that. I've gone over to using knives in a little bit because I want to learn accuracy. So I've done that by going knives and gouges and V-tools and stuff, but there's the equivalents within the Dremel. So next week what I'll do is I'll show you the bits that I've got, the bits I use. I will show you my die grinder and the larger saber-tooth bits. I've got a box of them somewhere that recently came, where I've got quite a selection of new ones. Really lucky, thanks to an ex-carver. I got a really good deal. So next week I'll show you my chainsaws, I'll show you the Arbortex stuff. I'll do a live presentation out the back, and you'll get to see all the power tools. Now, I don't generally advocate the use of power tools, because I worked in an industry where I used grinders all of the time, big 9-inch grinders. I learned tool safety on the job, and I'm very proficient with power tools because I've used them for most of my working life. So to use them in my hobby is just a natural evolution. It was the next step for me. I've got lots of different discs. I've got lots of different types of ways of carving wood that are all power based. But because if you cut yourself with a knife, because it's a surgical instrument, technically, you end up with a very clean cut that heals very quickly, because all it is just like an overinflated paper cut, if you like. You do that with a chainsaw and you've got no limb left. So I don't generally pump the power tool side of things purely and utterly because of the safety aspects, and you wouldn't want to put the chainsaw in the hands of an idiot. I don't mean that anyone is particularly an idiot, but it only takes an idiot to watch it and then go and chop their leg off, and I'm somewhat responsible for promoting them. So I don't generally promote my power tools, but next week's live will be mostly focused on what power tools and what one can use. Okay, you can get some at the local hardware, definitely. Do you have time for a quick hook knife sharpening tutorial? What I've actually got for the hook knife is there's an English guy that does a video. I will look for that after the live and give you a link to that. Sharpening it here, I'm just chaos. I use my Dremel for touch-ups. Yes, look, your Dremel is brilliant if you need for sanding, for burnishing, but the Dremels are a really cool piece of kit. I mean, it's The applications of a Dremel are massive, from a little router right the way through to saws and chisels and all sorts that you can get to fit Dremels. I've sort of gone away from them because of going over to power tools, going over to hand tools. But I can show you what power tools I've got and what pneumatic tools. Yes, absolutely. My compressor has broken, but I also own pneumatic tools, air tools that connect up. When I did my stone carvings, which I can show you next week, I used pneumatic tools. It was the easiest one. What about the power gouges? Well, I bought an Arbortech chisel set, power chisels, and I tried them and they were rubbish, and I tried it and it was rubbish, and it never did what I wanted it to do. So after a while it came off my grinder and now sits in a tray. Since coming over to oh look, Arbortech is much safer than the Lancelot chainsaw blade. Yeah, absolutely. Those Lancelot chainsaw blades, I don't own one. I considered buying one. It was going to cost me $100 to get one, and for a while there I had a bit of a falling out with Arbortech. I wanted to try their power plane, and I wanted to try before I bought, and there was no opportunity for me to do that. So I contacted the Australian company, which Arbortech is in Western Australia, and they didn't want to know. So I had a little bit of a falling out with them, and that's when I found Sabertooth. They do 4-inch discs. I ended up spending more money with Sabertooth than I would have done with Arbortech, but I got a bigger range of tools, and it opened my eyes to the Lancelot chainsaw blade. Am I going to demonstrate power tools? Maybe a little bit. When I've got them out, I can basically show what they do. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe I've got a lot of power tools, so it would depend on what. There's a couple of videos that show me using some of the power tools. Like I made the nose. A lot of people have seen that video. Yeah, I can do a small demonstration next weekend. So that's next Friday Night Live will be that. I know that Andrew, I was showing somebody that you did a bowl. Somebody was asking me about them privately, private message, and I actually pulled up your bowl that you did, I don't know, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, something like that. And I used you as the example, and then of course recently used you as an example for the spoon blade as well. Spoon plane. I thought till I can get my hand fixed, might be better for me to use Dremel. Yes. They also have a shaft, flex shaft, so that the machine hangs up, and you can do it like Fordham have, but not with a button on and off of your foot. But that will be much gentler on your hand. It doesn't matter if it does rain. I'll be under the roof, so I won't get wet. Look, the Lancelot's a chainsaw on a blade. I could just see so much going wrong with that. I know how much 4-inch grinders can kick if you get them into the right position in the wood. If the blade, there's a safe area on the blade where you can cut and use it, and then there's an unsafe area, and if you hit the unsafe area while you're in carving, if you go in really deep and you've got, say, let's say it's the left hand side of the blade that actually, right hand side of the blade, let me think, yeah, no, okay, if it's to the right, because of the way the rotation, it tries to pull into the machine. If you go on the other side, it tries to flick away from the machine, and if you hit, say, a V point or a 90-degree angle, when you hit both of them, the machine bucks. And I have had a 4-inch grinder run up my chest, and I batted it away before it got to my face. So this is natural. Maybe I should have let it hit, and then I could have looked like Blaze and talked in a high voice. Take the piss out of you. Oh. But yes, so power tools, they have a certain amount of danger added, and I'll discuss the dangers of them next week. I won't be showing you how dangerous they can be, because one never uses a machine for the wrong purpose. Machines, you cut yourself with a knife, it's a slip, and a band-aid or a bit of super glue or maybe 1 or 2 stitches. But the other power tools, like, they're used to chewing through hardwood. I mean, there is no such thing as which way does the grain go with a power tool. It doesn't matter. You can go against the grain, you can go with the grain. The tool just doesn't care. It just eats wood. Now, of course, if it catches skin, I was looking at my fingertip. I've got a scar that you can just about see that runs down through the fingertip, and that was me. I touched one of the power tools, and literally I only just caught it with my finger, and that gave me a 3 mil, an 1/8 cut that was, I don't know, probably a 1/16 deep. I was fortunate. I thought, oh my God, I've just lost my finger. And I'm cautious, and I still managed to just touch one once. That's the only time I've ever done that while carving. But in a work scenario, I've had, like I said, I've had a grinder run up my body. Pretty scary at the time, just bat it away, and I broke the disc when it hit the floor, and I didn't care. At least it didn't bite me. It just run up the clothes. Now, it could have grabbed in and dug in, and I would have had a grinder grinding into the bones of my chest. Nah. So yes, very, very difficult. I was told by a chainsaw carver that some of those tools, like Sabertooth, can eat you alive. Yes, he did. Yeah, they can. He didn't recommend I buy anything like that. He scared me away. Look, fear is a good thing. When you're using some of these tools, the fear is what keeps you safe. If you're scared of it, then you use it correctly, not a problem. Use it incorrectly, and that fear just explodes into. You start grabbing the asphalt with your sphincter. It's a scary situation, and power tools can run away from you really quickly. So it's something that I say supervision, being shown how to use them. That's something that is difficult in this group, or it's difficult in our private homes, because we're not necessarily a member of a group where you can go to see somebody using it, getting a live demonstration and an explanation, and then if you're using it wrong, they can correct you. And I'm here, and I'm happy to do face-to-face through private messages if necessary. I'm happy to do a face-to-face. I did see somebody was having problems with sharpening, and they wanted some instructions of how to sharpen their own tools. Now, I offered face-to-face, but not everybody's comfortable doing this. I've learned over the last 12 months that I don't have those nerves about being on camera now, but 2 years ago I did. I learned last year that if I wanted a dynamic group, then I had to stick my face on the front of it, and you get to see me. That's what I did. We get there with it, but I can show you how to use a tool. I can watch you use a tool, and if you don't use it right, I can say, no, you need to have your hand there, or you're pushed there. I can explain where the cutting edge is when I've got the tool in my hand. It's a bit hard imagining it, but I can do that. So if anybody has any issues or problems, they have power tools and they're not sure how to use them, then by all means contact me on the feed. On the feed means everybody gets to see it. If it's face-to-face, that can be arranged, and that can even be put on the feed if we do it a certain way. So I can help you with the power tools. If you are a power tool user, or you have a power tool and you're not sure of how to use it, I'm more than happy to assist in the best way possible, and being able to see each other. That means I can actually watch what you're doing. I can see what tools you're using. It makes it easy. Those Dremel bits you recommended, can they cut me? Yes, of course they can cut you. They're designed to remove wood. steel in some instances. If you use the diamond tip ones and stuff, you can do stone on them. Jewelers use them for gem setting. Yes, they can really they can be quite nasty, so you have to learn to keep other hands out of the way. I can show you, like next week, as I said, I will show you. I'll be back in a few. I have to use my phone time for dinner. No worries, no worries. Timer for dinner, no worries. Yeah, so next week I will show you. I'll show you what can be used. I'll show you my range of power tools. Now, I don't have them all. There's one or two, like I said, Lancelot, I don't have, but I've got other discs that do the same thing, just not necessarily as violently. The idea of a chainsaw on a blade, in one way, makes me go, oh, I want one of them, but at $100, nah. There's other tools that I can buy for $100, which are equally as good for me. They chew through the gum. That was made by Hammer and Chisel. That one was done with power tools. A lot of the face on this one was shaped with power tools rather than with knives and gouges. A lot of my bigger carvings, it's like, the way I view it is they're all blades. The chainsaw is like 12 mil, 3/8 cut. So the blade on a chainsaw is 3/8 thick. The blade on my knife is 0.001 on the actual blade point. So we're talking thickness of the blades. And a rotating burr is a gouge. If it's shaped like a pointy, and then you get your V tool. They're the same thing, they're just scaled up version, and of course a lot quicker. But yes, so next week will be the power tool. I'll enjoy that, and so will Tammy, because Tammy's been on at me to do a power tool one for a while. Sorry, fresh coffee. Yeah, so next week we'll do the power tool session, and I'll show you what I've got and how to use them and what tools go very well with them, and a little bit of a demonstration and stuff. We're almost up on the hour. That went real quick. It's been a hectic morning. I've enjoyed doing the live this week. You got to see my Skullington, and you've seen my stupid googly-eyed relief carving. I love those eyes, that make me crack up. And I'm working on knife blades, and my last video was the lighting was wrong, so I need to redo that so that you can actually see what I was doing. I will attempt to do that. When I cut the saw blade up, I blunted my saw blade, my table saw blade, cutting all of the exotic woods to make the blades. But to me, that's good, because now I need to buy a new blade for my table saw, and that means the old one becomes material for blades, for knives. Yay! So that I'm going to be working on them. I'll be making some more of them. I'll be doing some videos to show you how I do and what I do. Yes, good idea, Tina. I've got one of those. They're very, very useful, especially for when you're dremeling or when you're doing that sort of stuff. That's like someone recently said, that's not carving. Grinding isn't carving. Yes, look, power carving is carving. I'm sorry that I disagree with that person. I beg to differ. However you get your end result, the carving matters. How you carved it is up to you. You're welcome, Mandalee. It's lovely to see you here. Thanks, Fred. Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Brett. Thanks, Becca. Really looking forward to next Friday. Sure learn something this week as always. Look, hopefully it isn't just me waffling. I hope that I do impart some of the information that PWC tries to do. We've got a lot of this stuff in the files. There's got a lot of it in the videos. It gets lost in the hour, unfortunately. So I'll go through and I'll be editing some of the lives and taking some of the informative bits out and losing a lot of the waffle. But I think the waffle is pretty good, because it connects us all as to, well, this is what we're doing this week. This is what's happened this week. This is what we're looking at. I try to give you some information without being bossy about it. I try to give my opinion, I suppose, but I generally look online. I talk to other people, and usually when I give an opinion, it's backed. I can back it with fact. In most instances, carving is carving, no matter what tool you use. Exactly. It's lovely to see you all. Thanks, Ned. Thanks, Elaine. Thanks, Dale. Safe and happy carvings for the week. I look forward to seeing you guys on the feed. Don't forget, that's where we post. Want to see what you're carving, want to see your work in progresses, and if you're a beginner, step up, show us your photos, and if you need any help, holler, and we'll do what we can to help you. Not only me, the group, we're all helpful, and I absolutely adore that. You have an absolutely wonderful wonderful weekend. Tina, I've just seen waffles, yum. Why is his live making me feel hungry? I'll see you all next week, guys. Lovely to see you all. Catch you later. Safe and happy carvings.